Hello and welcome to Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Hello, Justin. How you doing?
I went there and back again.
Oh, you did, didn't you? We've come around here. We've come around to the end. We're going to take our one final peek into the Lord of the Rings universe. For now, we won't say anything else. But for now, and we're finishing this off with our favorite stuff from Return of the King, the final film in this three-part trilogy based on the books by J.R.R. Tolkien. I don't know why I'm introducing the author now, not like we haven't talked about this for two episodes before, but in case you didn't know. But Justin, I'm excited for other reasons. Yes, we're going to talk Lord of the Rings stuff, which is always a pleasure for me.
Mm-hmm.
But something
I'm
is
ready.
coming up very soon. Yes.
Yes, we'll hear more about it a little later. We'll probably have it in the middle of the episode here, but just to add a little bit to that ad, we'll be doing our extra live stream. It's coming up very soon for us. I mean, we're going to be
Yay.
helping just by playing video games for 24 hours straight, maybe 25 hours straight. I think it's around there. But anyways,
It's 25. We're going right through
25.
daylight savings.
Yeah, like I wasn't sure. Last year they said that, and then it ended up being only 24. So we'll see. Maybe there's a surprise hour in the end. But yeah, we'll have some incentives. We come up with some ideas. Maybe we'll be doing dancing, possibly playing games blindfolded. Maybe do some milestones of like if we raise a certain amount. So stay tuned to all of our socials and all that lovely stuff. We'll be posting all those antics of what we'll be doing. Last time we did a bunch of like Star Wars themed stuff, but this one will be with a group of people, and it's not as Star Wars related, so we can't have alcohol. Unfortunately, that was maybe that's a good thing. But
Maybe for the better. Maybe
our,
for the
our
better.
our goal, just so you know, is to raise about hopefully we can get to 1,500. I know that's kind of up there, but we've already raised 400, so it's
Hey,
not too far away. But yeah, that's coming up. If you're not familiar with Extra Life, go check it out. They help children's hospitals all over the place, and it's been kind of a
yay.
growing organization, and it's really fun. It's fun to be part of. So that's coming up.
Yes, we're gonna be playing games for a good cause, and we hope that people will join us, even just to check it out for a little while, watch along, help us keep our sanity, or drive us insane.
Yep.
Either way is fine. We'll be. I'm looking forward, hopefully, doing some kind of double dare things where we might end up doing like a physical challenge or
Yeah.
something, because
Yeah.
we will need to get up and do stuff. We can't just sit for 24 hours straight. But yeah, it's going to be a great event. I'm really looking forward to it. And if when once you see that link, please share it with your friends, your family, anybody who might be interested in. We encourage anybody to donate. Like Justin said, all proceeds go to helping Children's Hospital, and it's through the Children's Miracle Network. So it's a reputable charity. Please come and check it out. Check out our page. Donate. Did I say donate enough? Please help us out. It's all for a good cause.
Hmm.
So, all right, Justin. Are you feeling ready? We're
I
ready for the
am.
task
I'm
at
ready
hand here.
to go through the favorites of this long ass movie.
I love looking at the right when I started the movie and it had like like the very bottom, it has the bar of the progress, and at the very end, I see like, oh, there's only 4 hours and 4 minutes left to go. it's, it's quite the investment of time to sit right through the whole thing, but
Yeah, since we're doing extended editions, that's our poison that we choose, I guess. I mean, I guess we could
yes.
be we could
I mean,
we could not
those,
watch the extended edition. You could,
but
but
yuck.
why would you do such a thing?
Seriously,
Hmm.
especially after you've seen like all the stuff that they cut out,
Yeah.
it makes it better. I think I,
Oh
I
yeah.
really do wish that all that stuff was just part of the movie, anyways. But we get to enjoy it on home video. All right,
Home video.
let's.
I'm
I,
sorry.
yes, on your Blu-ray or Betamax player. So tell me, I know that last time you had some questions for me, and you might have a couple like surprise ones. I've got a couple surprise ones for you too.
Okay.
At least one that I want to ask you. But right off the bat, I want to just gauge your interest, because the last movie, Two Towers, is all about mostly Rohan and Saruman, and like basically you see the tide turning, right? Gandalf comes back in the end, and with him and Aragorn, and even Frodo and Sam like finding their way one step closer to Mordor, even though they take the little side trip to Osgiliath. We're on the threshold of the end here. We've got the big final push, and so much of this movie is fighting, is battles.
Mm-hmm.
While like you and I both kind of talked about how Two Towers, in a sense, kind of because we know what's coming, it feels like it's dragging because we're like, okay, come on, let's get to Helm's
Yeah.
Deep. Let's get
Yeah.
to Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
From a movie goer's perspective, like the first time you're watching that, you're feeling that building suspense. But here it's just like all action all the time. Like there's very few like beats of just quiet. They're in there, but this is really focused on a siege, a counterattack, ships coming across the river, lots of stuff. But at the heart of it all is characters,
Okay.
right?
I
So
was like, where are we
Justin,
going with this? I
like
thought,
introducing the Oscar nominations here, but at the heart of it all is character.
yeah,
So
sure.
Justin, I will ask you, who was your favorite character in this film?
So
Or
here's the thing.
characters, because I feel like a lot of people share the spotlight here. So
Yeah,
I will
this
accept
was tough. Like going into
favorite
this
one.
movie before we rewatching it is I honestly thought I knew the answer before I rewatched it.
Mm.
So my answer, I thought, and I kind of hinted at it in the last episode, it was Eowyn. But just because I love, but then the more I've watched it, we could talk on Eowyn because I think she deserves a spotlight. But after finishing it, though, it's Sam. Like Sam is my favorite
Ooh,
character in
really?
this movie. It's like I mean, I started like resonating with so much with him. Like I obviously like and I was like remembering our favorite I think sidekick episode or favorite hero. I think maybe favorite hero. I feel like he was your favorite hero. Like and you were bringing him up and how like the things he does. It was one of those episodes we talked about it, but like he deals with a lot of crap in this movie. Like
Yeah,
he's
it does.
and
Oh,
like his loyalty and his emotion and his and just all of the things that he goes through to the very very bitter end to the point where we still keep watching him at the very end of this movie like and I'm surprised we didn't watch his children have kids and like it just keeps going but I just like it becomes his story almost like I feel like it's not really it's in a way like to the degree like it caps off with him his decisions his choices have huge ramifications on what happens in this film. Sure, you could say Frodo was doing the burden, Aragorn distracted it, but if Sam was not there, like this movie, Sauron would have won. Like I mean, like I'm
yeah.
serious. Like it's like that. Like Frodo was about to give in. Frodo was about to, give up.
Hmm. He
And
did. He
and
did give
you
in.
give a
He
little
did give
credit to Golem on that too, but because but like, uh, yeah, Sam's my favorite. Like I just think like Eowyn has an epic moment, and
Sure.
I think that's kind of resonates like in your memory of this movie when you're not. But if you watch the whole path of Sam, like from the point where he is like seeing the problems with Golem and like how he's going to betray him, and he knows of the truth, but he can't seem to find he doesn't have the ability to find the what's what I'm trying to say here, but like he doesn't have the proof to like kind of show that Golem is going to betray them. He doesn't have that, and of course he can't get through the power of the ring at the same time, except if he just keeps on trying, showing that he is there for Frodo and only for Frodo. Like that's just I don't know, it's great. Like that's I loved it
He
rewatching it.
really is. He is such an amazing character because he does have this kind of like unflappable characteristic about him. Like partially it's because he's not tainted by the ring at all. Like not until the very end, which he does get the taint on him. That's a weird way of saying that, but he does get a little bit of the mojo of the ring,
Yeah, well,
and
yeah,
that's
because he had to
why.
hold it for a little bit, right?
Exactly, and that is, and I almost imagine like every step you take closer to Mordor makes the rings pull, makes the rings power more powerful, more like it feels more heavy, and like it poisons more. So him getting it when they were in the orcs tower there, and then like giving it back to Frodo, that kind of like reluctance and then Frodo snatching it away. And I love Frodo when he does put it back on. He's like, "Oh, thank God."
Hmm.
There's like a very clear like relief, when he
Hmm.
puts it back around his neck. But that's the reason. I mean, in the appendices, it does say that like Sam is the last one of the Fellowship to go into the West to take a ship into the West. That's like I believe Sam and Gimli and Legolas do all go. I don't know if they go together, but they do all eventually go to Valinor.
Mm.
Because not for Legolas and Gimli's case, Gimli just wouldn't be separated from his bestest buddy. But but for Sam, it's the last person to have been tainted by the ring.
Hmm.
To even have a little bit of it still. And as I'm saying this, all I can think about, and I don't know, I'm sorry, this is kind of a distraction. It
It's okay.
reminds me of Tears of the Kingdom and the gloom. It's like he's got the gloom on,
Oh.
you know. It's a good visual like comparison though, like the
Hmm.
way that grabs and like sucks your life away, and
Hmm.
Frodo really needed some Sundelions to help him out. But yeah, I kind of flip back and forth on this too. Sam is a great character. Theoden is a great character. I love Theoden in this movie too.
I
And I
like
was
him.
like,
I like him, but if I had to pick, like I like him more in the second movie. Like you feel like he kind
it's
of,
more his movie, the
yeah.
second
Like
movie.
I mean, he's great. He has a great moment too. Everything with Rohan is all moment based. He doesn't. He's gone
Mhm.
halfway through the movie. Really, I mean, to a degree, right? I mean, he goes and does his thing, and then he's gone. Same thing with Eowyn. I mean, she does her awesome thing, and then she's kind of gone halfway through, so that's why I mean, she's not gone. I mean, she's just not a big major part of the
They-
movie.
They're out of the focus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't even think she shows up in the extended version. I think she shows up at the thing at the end, but they don't show that like healing scene of them like meeting each other and in the original
Well,
cut.
no, that's not in the original cut at all. All
Yeah.
of that is in the extended edition, like her and Faramir, and even Faramir creeping on her, like looking behind a pillar and like watching her. What a creep. But anyway, I get it. Like they have
Yeah.
to like, how do we? But in the original theatrical cut, all they have is just them standing next to each other
Yeah.
at the wedding reception,
Yeah.
just like, let's bow together to
Yep.
show that we're a couple now. Like that's it.
The people in the books will
Uh,
know. The people that read the book
yep.
knew. But
It's like
anyways,
literally a nod to the book readers,
yeah.
an actual nod, like, "Hey, we're here."
But
Um,
that's the only reason that's what made this viewing made me think that. I'm sorry. Like, but what is your favorite? I'm sorry. I think I cut you off.
I actually found myself tied between 2, but who I would pick out of the 2 is Pippin.
Yeah, he's
Pippin
actually,
is
yeah.
my favorite character in this. This time, like, watching it through, and maybe it's just because I've seen it so many times, but I really ended up, especially after we talked about, Two Towers, thinking more about, like, Merry and Pippin's journey, and really,
Hmm.
it's like their coming of age story.
Sure.
They are these like kind of, adolescent hoodlums that by the end they both kind of take these branching paths like along the same lines. Mary becomes a squire of Rohan, and has to kind of like prove himself that he can fight, and fight in the battle. And Eowyn, they're like like their own little like misfits on horses. Like they're the ones that are not allowed to fight, but in the end they have the biggest impact on, one of the biggest impacts on the battle, which is an important moment. But I like, there so much of the movie does focus around Pippin and Pippin's story specifically, him touching the Palantir, the seeing stone.
Hmm.
That was his moment in this movie, of like in the Fellowship when he knocked the
Next the bucket.
armor down the well in the mines of Moria. It was like his last I can screw up like this moment,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
blame
And
Pippin on that one. I feel like he touched it initially, so like now it's grabbing him. He has to touch it, right? Like because he picks it up out of the water, right? And
yeah, there is this like weird magical quality to it. I don't know.
like
I know
he
I
seemed
didn't.
obsessed
I,
to touch it. Like he seemed like almost like he was being
yes,
pulled like the ring.
yes. I mean, he risked stealing it from sleeping
Oh my
Gandalf, and
god, that
Gandalf
shot.
sleeping with his eyes
That
open, which is fucking creepy. But still, good scene. And I like the Indiana Jones, like he's got the jug of water, and
yeah,
he's like, replace it with the jug. But
it made me
I
giggle watching it again.
Wait, say that again.
It made me chuckle a little bit watching that whole scene again, like just like the chug
Yes,
of water. It's like, yeah, like
but I love that. I mean, I really feel like Pippin is one of those like kind of not necessarily underrated character, but he gets lost in the fray of all these big battles. But
Mhm.
it's his like it's 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 his actions that save Faramir. It's his actions that really that save Mary in the end. When he goes and finds him, and it really is him like growing up. So like I just watching the movie this time, I'm like appreciating it more. And when they come back to the Shire, when everything is done, like in the books, like Pippin becomes like a thane or like what would be like a governor
Mhm.
of the Shire. Like, and you'd think like, oh, that jackass screw up. What did he grow up to be? Well, he grew up to do all these things, and you know, I appreciate it.
No,
Much
I agree.
like Mary, but I like Frodo less and less the more I watch these movies. To tell you the truth, he's such a whiny. he's
Well,
he's. I know he's being tainted by the ring,
yeah,
and he's really just being held up by the people around him, and that's just his job. Like he's the ring bearer. That's it. But yeah,
yeah.
mine would definitely be Pippin for
I
this.
love Pippin's like actions, like because it's so kind of it never align with what Gandalf wants him to do, and
Hmm.
it's sort of like it pans out to be a good thing, right? But
Yep.
but yeah, it's interesting, like his like his song. Like I love when Pippin sings. Like I was like,
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like, and like that whole sequence. Like I don't know if we're gonna talk about, like, I don't know. I guess this wouldn't be a favorite moment, but like that sequence of him singing with the guys eating the food and the grapes and like the tomatoes and stuff.
the tomato bursts like
Oh
blood
god.
coming down his lips,
Hmm.
and gnawing on a
It's
giant
kind. It was
chicken.
sad. It's sad. It's a sad
It is
scene. Very
very
sad
moving
scene.
scene.
Yeah.
Like
So
very like ghostly sounding song, and very like ominous,
you think
the
that's the
music
actor
in the
singing it?
background.
Is that the actor singing it, you
It
think?
is. It
Okay.
is him. It is him singing it. And it's moving, it's touching, and it's sad and foreboding because you're watching what's happening to Faramir like at the
Hmm.
same time as his father is feasting, and literally his son is his blood at the same time. Yeah, yeah, good stuff. I'm glad it wasn't like Aragorn is so cool. He's got a cool sword and he wins. Like it's more than that. These characters, and like I think the purpose of these books is, and really like anything about hobbits is about how they surprise people.
Hmm.
Like Pippin and Merry are both instrumental in the downfall of Sauron. Like you have to give them the credit where credit is due. But it's these little moments that like kind of add to the whole, but are
Hmm.
very
Well,
important.
that's like, coming in from the book The Hobbit. It's like, how could a hobbit change the world, which they do.
Mhm.
Like that's. I'm glad that we both pick hobbits though, because I think
No, this is a
yeah,
movie about hobbits. We should
yeah,
like hobbits.
sure,
It's-
sure,
all right. Now we're probably going to depart a little bit from hobbits with this next question.
sure.
But there are a lot of fights, a lot of battle sequences, a lot of set pieces in this film. What fight or what battle, what sequence like stood out to you? It might not be the whole battle, but like maybe just like a particular
I,
moment,
I mean, how
particular.
could you not answer the Eowyn fight? Like, I mean, I mean, like,
Really? Oh, so Eowyn versus the Witch King, you're
yeah, like,
saying?
I mean, like, we
Mhm.
talked about this, like, I feel like a week, like last week. I kind of like I just watched it because we didn't record until now, but like, I don't know, I was like, it is the build up though. I guess like it's the entrance of the Rohirrim into
Mhm.
the battle at. I know you said, before we started, I say it wrong. Minas Tirith. How do you
Yeah,
say?
Minas Tirith.
Okay.
Should I tell them what you texted me?
Sure. Go
So
for it.
Justin just this is such a minor thing. It's just it was just silly. Like he said something about Minas Tirith, but he had typed Minith Tirith like two like th on the end of both, and I was like, oh no, Justin's got a lisp. Minith Tirith. But
But that whole like
yeah,
build
that
up, like the
whole
speech and
there's so
like,
much.
yeah, the speech and like all that stuff. It. I literally like was like, I've watched this movie I don't know how many times, but I was like emotional and like my lip was quivering and like like just the music and the speech and just the moment, and you cap it off with a freaking awesome fight with Eowyn. I mean, like, who's
Yeah.
fighting like this evil, like, you there's like other things that are happening. Like you mentioned Pippin, like he like is killing orcs in the city, and like all
Yep.
that stuff. Like there's just so many epic things. Like Mary's attacking things. Like all these things are going on, and it's just like from people that you never seen fight before, or expect to fight, or you know, or doing it so well. But yeah, Eowyn's confrontation to save her uncle from
Mhm.
the Witch King of Olimar. What's it?
The
Was it
Witch King of Angmar.
Agmar? Okay, I don't know.
It's okay. I didn't expect you to give him his full title.
Well, he deserves it. He's pretty cool. Though I think we made a comment. It's like it's weird how he is so awesome in this movie, and then like they reference like, yeah, he attacked Frodo before at this place, and it's like, well, he was at like the weather top thing where
Yeah,
he's,
yeah.
yeah, like I'm like he just wasn't as cool then. Like why did he have his little awesome crown and like,
He
like
wasn't being serious then.
yeah.
Like I wonder about that too. It's like he was there. He looks like just like any of the other ring wraiths. He doesn't like there's no identifying him as the leader of them, but he's the one that comes forward to stab Frodo. And then when Gandalf says that, and they're in the meantime, as Gandalf is explaining this to Pippin, they're like arming him up. They're armoring
Well,
the
even
Witch King, and they put his sweet crown on his head.
like even his
And
voice
I'm like,
doesn't align with the other ones. It's like I remember like when you have the ring race in the first movie, it's like give us that, like give it. It's
oh
like,
yeah,
you know,
really high pitched
yeah.
and like
He's like this
yeah,
one is
more
way different
ghost like.
sounding. Um,
His,
but yeah,
his balls must have dropped, I think, between the first movie and the third because his voice is much deeper.
but anyways, yeah, that fight is just freaking awesome. I mean, it's
Well,
not long.
I
It's
mean,
not long, and it's just it's the dialogue, and it's just he takes the big mace and just like breaks her arm, and she
yeah,
can't. It's, and then the like I am no man. Like, and
hmm
I told you that it kind of makes me think of a Star Wars reference, which is new to me now watching this movie because I am no Jedi with Ahsoka. So like,
yeah, a little bit of that there.
yeah, so like I
Yep.
mean like that kind of added to the moment for me because I mean obviously I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but like it, granted this happened first, I just never had that connection watching this film before. I just never thought of it in that way. But yeah, it's just the only thing I would say is like the helmets of the Rohan do not make people that are don't that without beards look good. Like they just look weird. Like she
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
look
it looks weird.
like Theoden
They're
looks
built for
great,
beards.
right? But like Mary looks like kind of hilarious, and like obviously Eowyn, like it just it's whenever they scream because it's just the way the thing goes over their mouth, it just looks wrong. It doesn't line up right. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, when they're screaming right before the charge, it always makes me kind of chuckle when Eowyn screams death, and I'm like, I can see her perfect teeth,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so nicely. I'm like, how did no one figure out she was a woman?
Well, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I noticed this. Like they're sitting like having like a lunch together, her and Mary, just in the middle of everybody. Like everyone's around them, and their helmets are off, and like no
Yeah.
one notices. That's like
Oh, Your Highness. She's just chilling. Yeah. At
and
least
like
she wasn't making anybody stew.
yeah. So
She's a
that's
better
true.
warrior than she is a
It's
cook
true.
for sure.
It's true.
Yeah,
But
I love that scene too. I think like it is a good fight too because she's the only one brave enough to face off against the Witch King. Like everybody around them, like he takes the horse and that Theoden's on and flings it with his giant fell beast, and then like he's about to eat Theoden, and
well,
she's the only one that stands in the way and literally challenges him, which is awesome, awesome.
I was gonna add that too. Like this is something I never remembered. I just remembered it. Like even watching it, I always forget that she does it. She fights the other leader orc too. Like she like
Oh
destroys
yeah,
him.
the dude who had a stroke with like
Yeah,
his
like
crippled
yeah.
arm and
Like
like
granted,
saggy.
he doesn't die, but like he's like the main character of the orc army. Like like
He
he.
is, he is. I love his voice too. Like he's chasing her every time she like looks around. Like where is he? He like spots her.
And of course,
Like,
Aragon just comes in randomly and just kills him as she's
course.
laying down.
Figures, man just swoops in and just takes care of the problem.
Didn't even say hi. He just kept going, dude.
Oh,
Very nice.
no.
But anyways, what's your
Uh,
favorite fight there, Paul?
well, mine is
Battle.
from around the same time. And it's with the Rohirrim, and it's if it was like my favorite like actual action set piece of the fight, it is the Rohirrim when they face down the Oliphants and the what are they
Okay.
called? The Easterlings. And I love that, like, because you have this great moment of them basically sweeping away all the orcs in front of the gate, and they're like, drive them to the river, make safe the city, like, it's and then you just hear that like thump, like Jurassic Park, like the sound of a huge hoof like landing, and it's just focused on Theoden. You see his expression change, and they just see this line of giant war elephants and the horn calling, and he's like, and in that moment I love it because not just like the fight itself with the Oliphants is cool, like that is a really, I don't know if I would say like realistic, but like a good interpretation of how an army on horseback would fight these enormous creatures. Like, they'd take a lot of losses, but they could probably prevail.
Yeah, Eowyn,
Um,
who never has done a battle before, just rides her horse in between their legs and just hits them with her sword, and it falls down.
hey, she's a shield maiden of Rohan. She knows how to defend herself. Um, but I would not give the reins to Mary. That's the one mistake I think she made when she's like, "Go left, left." Like, that could have ended them right there, just one stamp.
Sure.
But I would like not only like the actual fight between them and the Oliphants, which is cool, and like seeing them mounted on horseback and with bows and arrows trying to make a dent in these creatures. But again, Theoden's like, all right, we're just gonna roll with it. And he's like, reform the line. Don't let them through.
That's cool shit.
Charge!
That's a
Like,
cool
he just
shit.
like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what we're doing. We're here to fight to the death. So let's get going. And it is such a cool scene because you have this like moment of temporary victory, and then it's like there's something even worse just waiting for you.
That moment with the elephants, I guess, it made me think of like, it's granted I never when you ever have like big things attacking and no one knows how to handle them, they always find a way to like knock one of them into the other big thing to get rid of two. Like,
Yeah.
and that's like a constant
Yeah.
movie thing. Like, that happens. Like, I've known, oh, they do this all the time. It's like, well, to make it make sense, they have to take one out with the other
Yep.
one.
And you're also trying to show like that it's more evenly matched instead of them just being squashed. Like, they're making a dent
Sure.
in these war machines.
I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh man, this like was the beginning of like the let's use big thing to kill other big thing.
But they did a pretty good job. Those Rohirrim, they did a good job against the
Yeah.
Oliphants.
Yeah, I
They
feel
did the best they
hopefully
could under the
Gondor
circumstances.
like helps them out or something like that, like afterwards. I mean,
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. I'm sure.
I mean,
Faramir
Aragorn's
is like
there.
at the wedding reception afterwards, like, "Hey, so do you think you could help me out with a couple bills here? Like, can we need to build up our army again. We've kind of lost a lot of people, but yeah. All right, very good. I would like to take this moment for a little just to because the next two are kind of related. It's favorite enemy in this I was going to say in this game, in this movie, as well as favorite orc.
Hmm.
And we get a lot of orcs to choose from in this
Yeah, there's a
film.
lot. I don't know how to even describe the ones that I think of either, because they don't have none of them have names, right?
They don't have names, or they do, but who knows what their names are. And the best way to describe it is to describe the scene that you see them in.
Okay.
So, Justin, do you have a? I mean, whichever one do you want to start with first? You want to talk about
I do like
the overall?
I do like the
Or
general orc. Like, I mean, he is funny. Like, the one that's in
yes,
charge. Like, he is awesome. There is one though. I don't even know when this happened, and I was trying to remember it today. But there's a one orc. It's like it's another one of those like like they're about to attack them, and then all of a sudden it's like the other orc is like in a crowd of people, and they're like decide to focus on one, and it looks like a punk rocker. Like he
Yes.
just looks like a punk rocker, like going ah, like that's all he does. That's all he does.
Oh yeah, he's got like a little mohawk.
Yeah, like he just.
Yes, he's like a little different color, like a lighter, paler green.
Excuse me.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking
Like he just
about.
looks like he doesn't quite look like an orc. He just looks like a rock musician that dressed up for a concert. Like he doesn't really. He has the teeth right, but like he doesn't have the face. His face looked too like human. So like it just makes me laugh every time I
He's
see
like
it.
a guy from Guar who got like lost, and he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll just join these guys." That's funny. So that's your favorite orc?
I would say that's my favorite orc. I mean, like aside from like the general guy, like he has some just cool moments, like when he like dodges the rock and spits on it and all that stuff. So
I do. Among his ranks, when this is my honorable mention for orcs, but when in that same scene when they're getting ready, when they see the Rohirrim on the horizon, and he's like, "Move, you maggots!" Like pikes in front, arrows behind. Just for a moment, there's a guy carrying a pike, and he goes, "Oh!" That dude. I love that dude. For some reason, it's like they just focus in on one guy making a noise, and I love that guy. Every time I see it, it always brings me a little smile. But my true favorite orc in this is actually all the way in Mordor.
Okay.
And it's after Frodo's been tied up by Shelob's web, and Sam is like, he thinks that he's dead, so he goes and hides. And then these two orcs come like waddling down, or a bunch of them come waddling down, and they're like, "Is he dead?" And he's like, "No, she's not. She likes to feed on them live." And they're like, this whatever he said, "This bloke's not dead." And then he's like describing what the spider does, and he goes, "Then she sticks him with her whatever, and then she sucks him dry as a bone fish."
Yep.
That dude.
Yep.
That guy is my favorite orc, just because of his description. Like, and then he's the one that Sam stabs in the tower when he says, like, "I'll stick you like a pig," or whatever. And then he's like, Sam's like, "Not if I stick you first."
They have this weird phrasing, like they like it's very consistent with the orc dialogue. Like they do consistently have like the same kind of like, I guess I don't know how you say it, but like just like sort of like the same. They use the same type of words to describe things. They always say like it's like, "I'm gonna stab you in your gut, in your belly," or like just like "I'm gonna skewer you in your like." It just like the way they sound and they discuss things. It's like the same kind of language, like almost like a slang in a way of the orc slang. I do have another one. I do another one. I just thought of it. It's when they are in Mordor and they have the armor on, like they are like they kind of like got the armor and they like kind of like filter themselves into like the ranks.
Oh yeah, when they try to blend in with the company that's running by. Yeah.
So there's like an inspector orc, like inspection. Oh, no. Like he just his design is like kind of weird. It's like it's different. Some of the. Yeah, and I like the way he just like he like looks around, but then he like does a little like quick look like when he sees something.
Yeah, he like smells and then he like looks at him, and then his like blind blue eyes or whatever go, and he like squeals like. Ah.
Yeah,
like
I like that one for sure. Yeah, definitely.
He looks like Clayface a little, you know.
Sure.
Like he's like he's like mounded.
He kind of makes me think of like the Dick Tracy characters a little bit too. Like he's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Prune Face or.
Oh, Dick Tracy, another time.
Oh. All right. Now you're warmed up talking about your favorite orcs here.
Sure.
Who is your favorite overall enemy?
That's a tough one in this one. There's just. Because it's just like armies, right? Like I mean, like it's. I mean, we already talked about how cool the Witch King dude is. Like he's just cool. But who is the favorite? You know what? It's the Mouth of Sauron.
Oh damn it! I was gonna say, can I give you mine?
How do you gotta pick the Mouth of Sauron. Like it's like right.
And if you saw it in theaters and that's the only version, you would have never known about this character.
Oh, I know. It's so sad. It's such a cool freaking costume. It's
it is a
awesome.
cool costume, cool design, like the way that they because he is like I guess he's a dark elf, like he was
Mm.
once an elf and has been corrupted by Sauron. But like you see mostly just like his mouth and like really like his nose and chin. His mouth is huge, of course, and ghastly. And yeah, he's such a cool design.
Love
And I
his
love that
dialogue.
he's like kind of blind. Like you can't like no other feature is important because he is the mouth of Sauron.
It's just the way he talks. It's like, oh, like it's like
Yeah, and that goes back to what you were saying about their like language. Now he's like, well, I love when he throws Gandalf the mithril coat, like Frodo's mithril shirt, whatever,
Mhm.
and he's like, "I want you to know, Gandalf, that he suffered. Who knew one so little could suffer so much pain?" And he did suffer, Gandalf. He did.
He
Like
does have a
he's
weird accent for the rest of them for sure. Like it's very different, you
is there
know.
anyone in this route who can treat with me? Yeah, he's got a very distinct voice, which he should. If he's the mouth of Sauron, he's got a very distinct mouth and distinct gum decay. But I watch that movie now, and I'm like, Jesus, that must take a dentist like a year of just sitting there and like getting all that plaque off. But
um,
anyway, and
no,
like there's always like blood in his mouth too.
yeah,
Whenever he's talking, he's like, "Ugh," like just something is always oozing. His lips are all cracked. Really cool design.
it's
Really cool death too.
yes, very yes. It just kind of happens. You
Aragorn doesn't even mince words. He just like cuts his head off. He's like, I don't believe him.
I can't believe him. I won't. Um,
Mhm.
I do. There's a villain, like I guess a group of villains. I would say to like like you said they're called the Easterlings. Is that what you said they're called on the
Yeah, the
elephants?
ones with the painted
I
faces
want to
and
know more
the
about them. They're like I'm just
yeah,
curious about them. Like I don't even remember them going into detail about them in the book that much, to be honest. Like I know they were
a
there.
little bit. They're called the Haradrim as well.
Okay.
Like they're like what Gollum said in Two Towers. They're wicked men. Like they just
Yeah.
live. They just happen. Like if you were watching Rings of Power, it's those are the people like in the town, where they restart everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of I can't remember a thing about that
The show.
that show now, but
I know what you're talking
you
about.
know, okay, but in that
The
area, in
Southlands,
the
isn't it?
Southlands, yeah, that's where they're from. Like those are the evil men that were corrupted by
It just
Sauron, and
they're but they don't seem to like fit in the rest of the realm, like the rest of Middle Earth. Like just like their dress and their like their way they're.
yeah, they've got like woven armor.
Mm-hmm,
That's kind of like rattan or
mm-hmm.
like basket weaving armor. But
I'm just
no,
I'm curious about them. They're just their dress and how they were able to like I guess tame elephants like to do
mm,
battle attack like battle like that's just kind of neat. Like
yeah.
I'm just curious about them. So
They're so far removed from everything else that it's basically another world. If you want a good analogy, I would say they're a lot like aesthetic and I don't know about culture, but like the Shan Chan from Wheel of Time.
mm-hmm,
They're like all the way over there, nobody really knows about them, and then they just show up and they're like a complete shock to everybody.
sure.
There's a lot of similarities with the costume design too, I bet. I think you could probably
Yeah,
draw some
no,
connections
I
there.
can see that. Like, and I see a little hint of the ale a little bit because they have the veil the what you call it the what's that thing the mask they put on the shawl whatever the veil over their don't they wear over their face?
Oh, yeah, in yeah, you saw some of like the Haradrim soldiers. We don't get to see too many of them. Like the ones that go into Mordor in Two Towers, we don't see like that group again. It's a
Oh,
different
okay, that's a different
like
group.
it almost seems like yeah, they're not the same, or maybe maybe they're the ones riding up on top of the Oliphants, but you never see that particular group of Haradrim again.
Hmm,
I wonder what happened to them.
I don't
As
know.
Faramir said when one of them fell off the elephant, and he is like, in the extended edition, he was like, was he not fighting for his country?
Hmm.
Doesn't he have like a mother or a wife at home? Like, wouldn't he rather just be home? It's like cool philosophy, dude, while you're in the middle of like an ambush, but cool
Sure.
stuff. Seems a little out of place, but okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. We got one more here to talk about, and then I think we should take a little break. But we've talked a lot about people, and fights, and characters, but there are so many cool places in this movie, and like so widely different places from like the very, you know, most like holiest of holies in Minas Tirith at the Tower of Ecthelion, and all this like pomp and circumstance, to Minas Morgul, the dead city. Like, so what, like, was there any place that really like stood out for you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, like I had down here as I'll just say it like
You
as
you
a
do your
shout out,
favorite because
but
I've been doing a lot of them first. So you go ahead. You can go
okay,
first.
like the cracks of doom, like the actual like that ascent up the mountain,
Hmm.
how like poisonous and sulfurous it is, and then the actual like just that little like I don't know what do you call it, like it's not a bridge, the gangway that leads to the to the
Yeah,
heart of
I
the
don't know
mountain,
what
to the
would you
heart of the
call
volcano,
what would you call that? Like a walk, like just a
a
boardwalk, like
walkway, causeway.
the board.
uh, it's but I love that sequence, and I just love the like kind of like the weather effects of like the lava and the heat and the flashing. Like there's always like it seems like as close to like hell as you could imagine, but like even more so as like is like trying to tell Frodo to throw the ring in, and the music cuts out, and it's like and the sound cuts out, and it's just like the flashing of the lights. It's just a cool scene. I really
How are they
like
not
that a lot.
melting in that room? That's what I want to
Right?
know.
Shouldn't the minute like they get near the edge, like their hair just like
Yeah,
dissolve?
like come on, like if you played any Zelda game, you need like the red tunic or something. I mean, like
Yeah, to
you got.
even go in there. As soon as you go in, it'd be like unbearable heat
It's
on your
like
little
they get the entry.
lava.
Like, can you make the throw? Can you just throw it in there? Like, do you have to walk in? Like, do you have to go to the
You have to be in
edge?
the middle. Can I throw it off the side? Like it bounces and just like lands on a rock and doesn't ever burn. That was honestly one of the first things I thought of when I watched the movie for the first time. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if it just like landed on something and like didn't burn, and they had to like, all right, someone's got to jump down there and like take it with them. Like, how
I
would
do
you
like
get it
how they
in?
don't make it burn right away. Like, it makes you like second guess it. Like, is this gonna work?
Yeah,
Like it just
yeah,
sort
I
of
like that.
sits
Takes
on the
time.
magma, right? You know, it's like it's interesting.
Hot magma. Um, I don't know if it's my favorite. I'm kind of like mixed on my favorite settings. There's a lot of cool ones, but I like the design of Minas Morgul, the dead city.
That's
That kind
probably
of
up
like
there for me.
weird green light that just kind of like emanates from the city. The really like disgusting gargoyles at the edge of the bridge to it, and
Oh,
just how like they don't even go in it. It's just like just
mm-hmm.
being near the gates of it is like enough to like drive you crazy.
So my answer is actually like what that was like a close answer to me. Like it just look. I just want to go inside that place and just see. It's probably
No,
horrible inside, but like
no,
the outside is
yeah.
cool. But also kind
Still,
of
I'd
it
love to
also
see
kind of
it.
like makes you think of the Emerald City. So it's like from like
Well,
you know which I don't know is a good or bad thing. But no, where the army, like where they find the army of the dead, that place, like what's that called?
mm, um,
It's under the mountain. I
the
don't know.
Dimalt Road. Take the
Okay,
Dimalt Road
I think
to the heart of the
there's a
mountain.
name of for it, and I can't remember. But like, anyways, that whole like sequence of them in
It is
that
really
room,
cool.
like even like just walking in, they got like the Gimli has a hilarious thing. I know we do comic relief, but like he just starts blowing the wind like away from. Just
Oh,
didn't
yeah, like the
exist.
little ghostly hands, like of like the ghosts, like come and he's
Yeah.
just blows it away.
I
Yeah,
do find it funny how they go into that spot. It's like they're walking outside and it's just like a little like ghost. It's like a fog door. It's like so like Hollywood thing. It's like walk through this like it's just like the back of a lot. Like it's like like it's
oh,
just like it's just a weird hole in the wall. It's like but
it
no, just the shot of
looks
them
cool.
like like seeing the ghost in this room. Like the ghosts make the scene. It makes the place. It makes the setting, right?
Yeah.
But just the shot of him laughing and then all the skulls just flying out of the wall. Like that is freaking awesome. I love that shot. It's so cool. It's like it's so Peter Jackson to me. Like that
Mhm.
whole sequence is just Peter Jackson at his best because like that's what he did a lot of beforehand, right? He did a lot of like kind of like horror
Yes.
type movies. So
In fact, the ghosts kind of remind me of the ghosts in The Frighteners. You
hmm
remember that? It was a Michael J.
yeah,
Fox
yeah,
movie.
it's true. Yeah.
But I like that. Yeah, like it's all dark when they like come into like the what would be like the throne room area, I guess, for this guy. But then like the dead start coming and they like light the city up,
hmm
and yeah, it is a really cool scene, and it's just like another crazy out of this world kind of thing to happen. But it's like to Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas, it's just like, all right, let's like we're going to go fight basically the devil on Earth, so might as well, like what could be worse?
I just
Like
find it funny. It's like they
what
think
else could happen?
they think they fail, and like that shot too, like right at the end where they just like walk out another hole and they're just like at the river,
Mhm.
and it's like oh man they lost, and
Oh,
then
and he's like,
and then
oh,
but no, and then like the main leader dude, he just like walks on the wall like really fast. It's like we will join you. Like I'm like
real
Jesus,
fun.
okay,
It's cool. It's a good part, and I believe that's the end of the first disc right there
is it?
in
I
the
thought it was like
in
the beginning of the. I thought the end was the beginning of the Minas Tirith. Is that the end? I thought it was when they're
no,
walking up to the.
no, no. I'll mention where I know exactly where it is. Sorry, I thought that was it. Nope, comes a little bit. It's in a different spot.
Okay.
All right, this is some good stuff here. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We still have a few more things to discuss, but I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about one of these. I'm very excited.
Okay.
But let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll finish off Return of the King. Hey, Justin, it's fall. Doesn't something usually happen around this time of year?
It usually kind of gets dark at night.
Daylight
Well,
savings time.
that's right. But there's actually a really cool thing that happens on daylight savings time. But you didn't get to experience it last year. You want to do it
Oh,
again
no.
this year?
I would love to accompany you to the Extra Life fundraiser. Can you tell me a little bit more about it since I wasn't there last time?
Yeah, so it's a 24-hour event. This is actually like kind of a worldwide game day for Extra Life. It's kind of like the last push to raise money, children's hospitals across the world, globe, country. So we're just using this last day to kind of hit our goal, and we'll be streaming it live for 24 hours straight.
Yes, we will. We're going to get pretty nutty with our gaming and just hanging out. So it's going to be fun. We hope that you'll join us for that stream. Again, that's going to be Saturday, November 4th. And we encourage you to donate, help support us supporting local children's hospitals. It's a great cause. It's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome back. All right, Justin. Here we go with our last few questions I have
Okay.
about favorite moments here. One thing, especially in the first two movies, that there was plenty of was these little moments of comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a moment that sticks out for you in this one? I know this one is kind of like super serious, super surreal, but there are some intentionally funny moments too, unintentionally funny moments. I mean, that just still make me kind of chuckle. They're not meant to be funny, but they are.
Sure.
So, is there any that stick out to you? Anything that tickled your fancy?
Well, I mean, the whole thing with like I mentioned before, like the one with Gimli in the Army of the Dead place with blowing things. I tried to think of one. I think there's one I'm forgetting about that Gimli does. Like Gimli does a lot of the ones that make me laugh.
He's got a
There's
lot of like one-liners in this,
yeah,
but
like
I I really thought you were going to say Gimli when he was outside of the door to the city of the dead.
oh well, that one, yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good
When
one
he was
too.
like, he's like, well, isn't this a fine thing? An elf will go underground where a dwarf dare
Mhm.
not. And he's like, I never hear the end of it. And just goes, plunges in. That's up there for me. It's a silly little moment, little aside. But I will share with you an unintentionally funny moment for me. It's
Mhm.
not a funny moment. It's not meant to be, but it's meant to be very serious.
Okay.
but I just can't help but laughing because I love um, Hugo Weaving as Elrond. Um, it's when they're in the camp, but before like when he comes to give Aragorn the sword, the
Hmm.
reforged sword, and tells him to take the Dimalt road. There's this like side by side profile shot of Aragorn and Elrond, and he just like unveils the sword and he tells him,
Very
what it
slow
is.
motion too. It's
And
like a
yep,
big sweeping motion.
yep. And then like and Aragorn is like, Sauron will not have forgotten the blade, and pulls it out, does an awesome like, look how huge my sword is, one of those moments, wink
Hmm.
wink.
Yep.
I got a bigger sword. But in that moment when he's holding the sword, it does the side by side shot of them in profile, and Hugo even goes, he's like, the man who wields the sword will have the power to raise the army of the dead. Like the way that he's talking and just how fast his mouth is
Yeah.
going
Hmm.
always just like takes me right out of the moment. I was just like it just, the way he's like, his sudden urgency, because a minute ago he was like, I've come for someone I love, and he's talking slow, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, I only got 5 minutes to go. I gotta get on a ride here. I gotta get out of here. Like it just comes pouring out of him. His facial movements are great. Also, Eowyn's battle cry. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
just
we
gonna
brought it
say
up.
it.
Yep, we know you brought it up.
Not the like death. Not that one. When she says, "I am no man," and like winds up and stabs the Witch King.
I blame the
I love
helmet
it.
though. I blame the helmet on that. That's what makes it look weird. I think the
She's
helmet
not
really
wearing the
does.
helmet though. She's not
Oh,
wearing the
oh,
helmet.
that's
She'd
true.
already
That's
ripped
true.
it off. It's the
That's
actual
true.
yell that I love.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess if you're going to like unintentional comedy, I
There are some comedic moments in here for sure, but
I guess
yeah, go
I
ahead.
can't, for some reason I had one and then like I just it was gone. I should have wrote it down. But like when they first get to Minas Tirith, where Mary and Pippin and Gandalf are there, and they're like just kind of
Yeah.
chilling at their apartment, like at their hotel room.
Oh, yeah, him and
Um,
Pippin. Yeah, in their
yeah,
hotel suite. Yeah, so the balcony. It's so
like
nice.
Gandalf and the cat, he is smoking so angrily. Like he is just like
Yeah,
his
he's
expression.
coughing. He's like,
It's like
I can't handle this Hobbit stuff.
it's just like I don't know why it's like I just makes me wonder like why did they do that? Like why like why did they make you like what was the direction in that scene? Like Gandalf, you're gonna smoke this
Oh,
thing, but for some reason you can't smoke it really well and you make you cough. Like what's
you're gonna. I wonder if it's like that's an old Gandalf thing, and this like Gandalf the
the new
White
one
is
can't
not
do.
used to it. It's like his first time. He's like, oh God, who would do this? But I love it because Pippin like is like watching, and he just like brings him a glass of water, and he's
Yeah.
like, thank you.
I thought it was tea. I thought it was tea. Maybe it was water. But yeah, like yeah.
Whatever it was, that is like a little sitcom moment. You're
Yeah.
right, like that, like the scene in their apartment. It's very like Seinfeld
I don't know
almost.
why. It's just like I just the whole thing is just silly to me because it's like he's getting his clothes and like do they really expect me to fight like and then it's like he's just coughing this whole time. It's like he makes like little like subtle comments under his breath. It's like
Yeah, it's
it's
it's like muttering under his breath.
that
Yeah,
made me giggle. That made me giggle for sure.
Pippin is great because Merry at this point is already like joined up with the Rohirrim. He's like,
Hmm.
I want to fight. I want to fight. And Pippin's like, this is more of like a ceremonial position, right? Like he's still like, what exactly did I sign up for?
Mary getting picked up
Uh,
by Eowyn is kind of funny too, though. Like the way he gets picked up,
oh,
like it's just like he
yeah.
just goes like
Hide with me, my
my
lady.
lady. But yeah, anytime I see Mary
Yeah.
with a helmet on, it makes me laugh because it just looks so ridiculous. It's
And he
just
does look ridiculous.
yeah.
And I think that's why Eomer is like picking on him. He's like, are you serious? We're going to fight hordes of bloodthirsty orcs. Like,
Them laughing,
this
but
is what
when he says things like them laughing at the fire, it's kind of funny.
we're
It's like
it is.
it's so like it's just so like you're just it's so off putting because it's like you're used to him being so like serious and like angry,
Mhm.
like, and he's just chuckling for a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, like it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and he gets the other idiot to laugh too. Like, makes a joke. Oh, oh, but speaking of Merry and Pippin, it's at the very beginning of this movie when they're. Is it at the end of Two Towers or at the beginning of this one when they find the storehouse of
It's the end of Two
Saruman's?
Towers. Yeah, it's the end.
So at the beginning of this one when they're like sitting on the wall, like
So the salted pork.
yep, feasting and smoking and I love that part when Mary or yeah when Mary and Gimli is like we've chased you and here we are seeing you feasting and smoking and Mary does this. He's got like smoke in his mouth and he's just like he like makes like a chewing motion with like the smoke coming out. I don't know why that just like
Well,
that's
Gimli's
such a
funny
silly
too
choice.
when he's like when he says, "Oh, you eat salted pork," he's like salted pork. Like
Yeah,
his reactions. Really
salted pork. Oh yeah. You need those scenes though. You need that little bit of levity, and there's no like real like slapstick in this one. The only thing I can think of that like reminds me, it's not meant to be funny, but it is when Denethor gets set on fire and he
He runs.
runs probably a mile and a half, from the tombs way in the back to across the courtyard and down,
Just
and it's
wanted a
like,
really cool shot of him
God,
jumping off the side.
it is. It is. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the logistics of it don't make sense. I mean, do you think if he kept running, he could have, not been burnt up? But as I understand
He was
fire,
insane. He was crazy.
usually, but he's not like a spring chicken either. Like, at what point do you just succumb to your body's on fire and stop running?
Fight or flight, man.
Like,
Fight and flight. Fight or flight.
he can't punch the fire, that's for sure. So. What about you, man? Was there any other spots that, you know?
Nothing. I mean, I kind of that's the ones I could remember because I already had said my favorite earlier was the one him blowing all the wind, like blowing all the hands away in the
Oh,
dead
that's
city.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I had said, I brought up earlier that one makes me laugh. Just the way his hair just kind of moves around. It
Mhm.
just makes me chuckle.
So let's take a serious turn here. We
Oh
did
boy.
mention one of the serious weapons here at the beginning of this when I was saying about getting what's it when Hugo Weaving Elrond brings him the blade that was broken. So what weapon would you say stuck out for you? What was your favorite weapon in this one? We've talked about a few favorite weapons. We talked about the siege weapons. Talked about I forget what your one for Two Towers was. It was the armor. It was the armor
Théoden's armor.
of Rohan. Yeah.
Um. Hmm.
Did you like Aragorn's I'm a king now armor when he goes to fight the final battle?
Yes,
He
that
got
was
his
good.
hair
Yeah.
washed and like pulled back.
I'm gonna
It
say
was
the
very.
wolf's head.
"Mm,
The wolf's
damn
head.
you, that's mine too. Grand,
I mean, I
grand,
really like the
grand,
mace. That what's what or is that the name of it? I forgot it was Grond, right?
grand. The hammer of the underworld. Grand.
That is cool. It doesn't really. I feel like I wish it did more than just like it was just. It's literally just a cool looking battering ram that has fire. That's really all it is.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It was made specifically to get through the gates of Minas Tirith. Like it was forged in the fires of hell. Like whatever, however they made it. But I that's the end of the first disc when they're you know what? That's a comedic moment too. When they're trying to use a regular battering ram and the pile of dead just keeps going up and they can't even like they're like running up a hill of dead orcs to try and use the battering ram.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we can't do it. The door is too strong. We can't break it. And then your favorite orc there goes, Grond will break it. And they start chanting Grond. And that's the end of the
I thought
disc.
that's what it was. Yeah, I thought
That's the
that's
end of
the
the
end of Grond.
disc.
So there's another
Yeah.
shot that's sort of comedic. Now you're making me think of this stuff.
Oh, go for it.
There's a shot. It's like, well, it makes me think of like, military weapons too. Like I think they're waiting behind a door. I think it's Gandalf, And I think he makes a very wide-eyed expression when everything comes in. It's like 7 trolls that just like come in like cave
Oh,
trolls.
yes, yes. He's like,
Like
"Whatever comes through that door, you will stand your ground." Then it opens, and it's a ton of trolls, and he's like,
and I'm
"Eh,
like, Jesus, like I just never like because we just recently rewatched these. I'm like, damn, they had a hard time with one cave troll. That's 7 cave trolls or whatever
yeah,
it was, 5 or 7.
armored with hammers." Like, yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, it's very scary, very scary. And then elephants are up there. The elephants are up there too. But like the Grunge is cool. Like you know what I mean? Like
It
he's
is.
it's just a cool looking thing.
It's a cool design, and and clearly, like, the orcs are, like, cheering its name, so it's like it has this good entrance. And what stinks is that that part when they say, like, when the regular battering ram's not working and say, like, "Bring up the wolf's head," that part is not even in the theatrical cut. Like,
Yeah,
you don't get to see the
I
orcs
see why they cut
chanting its
it.
name.
Yeah, but I see why they cut it.
I
I can
know, it's a
see.
little extra, it's not necessary.
Yeah, like there's so much going on in that freaking movie. It's like, like,
W
I
yeah,
don't.
when minutes count, like,
Yeah,
when you really have to
it's a long thing. It's good. It's like it's great. It's just there's a lot there. There's a lot there to take in. I can't remember half this movie right now. We're talking about it right now. I feel like we haven't even talked about anything that Frodo did in the first half of the movie.
Well, I gotta tell you, Frodo's story is, like, my least favorite part of this movie. It's not until, like, when Sam rejoins him and gets him back on his feet, and, I mean, we can talk about, honestly, these last 2 favorite music from this film, as well as favorite moment. A lot of them are tied together because part of what makes this movie good is that it has a great soundtrack that's, like, backing really emotional moments. So, I mean, I mean, I don't know if you wanna talk about both at the same time here, but, I mean, if there's a particular musical, aspect to this
It's when the
movie that, I
Rohirrim
mean,
gets
because a lot
there.
of it has, like, remixes of themes, but
Yeah, it's tough. There's not like I mean, like I do like Pippin's song. I mean, we mentioned that already, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's a really kind of, but no, like
haunting.
it really is just like it's kind of hard because music is just so like it's always there and it's always great, I guess. But the music in the moment with the Rohirrim and during the speech, like that
Mhm.
part is just it's hard because I feel like that is my favorite moment too because I feel like that's the one I
Me
remember the
too.
most. You know, it's like it's hard.
Yep,
I do want to give like I guess so we're not constantly talking about the. I feel like we're only talking about Rohan in this whole thing, but like
I know.
like because that whole sequence is just like I mean it's hard, but like I do love the speech that Sam gives. I know I want to bring him up because I love the speech when he is on the side of the mountain and Frodo can't go anymore, and
Yeah,
he has a lot of good lines in this movie, and the
he
fact
does.
that I can I might not be able to carry your burden, but I can carry you like that. I love that
Mhm.
freaking moment. That is an
That
awesome.
always hits home.
I mean that I know we like say like we're not as big on the whole journey of Frodo. It's not as engaging as some of these battles, but I honestly think Sam's journey like I was rewatching is such a different experience when you're watching it for the first time. The first time watching it, I was invested in Frodo's journey and how they were going to portray it
Oh,
for the first
of
time. You
course.
know what I mean?
How does the ring get destroyed?
But
Yes,
I
yeah.
guess like the more I watch it, like what I really focus on more is just the subtleties that they try to like come across with like how the acting from Sam and like and just like the way they handle Golem and stuff like that. Like all those things kind of tie together and like it just sort of hits ahead with that moment where it's like you just want them to get to the end and you're almost like struggling with them because the journey has taken so long and it's like they drag it out but it's a good kind of dragging out and you're like what else can they do to stop this thing and like it's always Sam that just has to pick him up and bring
Yep,
him to where he needs to go and like I just
yep.
love that moment too like I mean the Bohemian like makes me emotional but like Sam doing that at the end just it's a great payoff, I guess, to everything that the trilogy gives you, and like it just makes sense that he's the one that has to do it, and it's shown so good. So
Sure, I mean, I love hearing that line, it always hits me every time that, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. It's such an inspiring thing, you know? It's like I can't do that thing for you, but, I can help you through it. And that's like really what like a true friend is all about, it hits home.
Hmm.
Um I will I'll say it like there's a lot of like reusing of the same themes in this, that we've heard through the trilogy musically, but I like it's kind of like a remix of the Mordor theme. You know how like when the armies are marching, it's that bam, bam, bam,
Hmm.
that kind of like when Barad-dûr falls, when Sauron is destroyed and like his tower is falling, it's the same theme, but it's like in a major chord. It's like that. Dun, 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 dun. We're just gonna get us copyright strike here, mouth humming the
You're
song.
not close
But
enough. Trust me. You're okay.
thank you. But I love that like it's because it's kind of the same theme, but it's like a triumphant like we've won version of that.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, "Ere the Sun Rises" is my favorite moment as well. Theoden's last speech to his men and Niece before they charge, and it's like to death. Like let's go. Like here we go, and always so moving. But honestly, I'm gonna put this up there too. Seeing it this last time, really, I think maybe because I watched this section kind of last by itself, but when they're finally at the gates of Mordor and they've already killed the mouth of Sauron, when Aragorn, like the gates open and Aragorn hears Sauron basically like tempting him, you hear the whispers like, "Aragorn," right? And he steps out on his own and just turns back to everyone, and there's this like silence, and he just says, "For Frodo,"
Hmm.
and just turns around and goes, and then the hobbits go right after him. That's my favorite part. Is
Good.
is like Aragorn going for it, and then the hobbits like yeah, hell yeah, and then everyone else is like, okay, let's go.
Why doesn't that whole thing, like, of course, when the ring gets destroyed, why does their ground stay and like the ground just falls apart all underneath only the orcs? Like, is there like a reason for that?
Cinema.
Cinema.
I it's the final battle is very different in the not very different, but it's different. It's like it's been a while since I've read the book, but it's not exactly like that.
Well,
There are
yeah.
more like Elrond's sons are there for one thing, like um but they've like stationed themselves in different spots and they're like just withstanding the waves of orcs that are coming at them. I don't know if they surround them. I don't remember, but it is kind of weird because it does like stop right where the guy where men are, and then it instead of like in my mind when I was watching it, I remember thinking like, are they going to be stranded like on an island because there's orcs all around? But no, those orcs are spared. The orcs and trolls get to run away like hell no, like we're out of here. And it's like, oh, there's still going to be some orcs left in this world.
Hmm.
Okay.
I
I
gotta
don't I don't
say,
know why they're specifically. Maybe you could say it's Sauron's malice that's feeding through his men, and when that fails, like where they are
oh yeah,
fails.
there's easy way.
Well,
Trust me, there's easy ways to explain it. I was just wondering if you actually knew.
magic. No, I don't. It was along a tectonic plate, you see, and there was like a little bit of like difference, and that's what caused the earthquake. It just happened so quickly. Um,
I
I
think it's
I
because
gotta.
all the men are filled with metachlorians, and that's why I was gonna say I have another moment though too, like this second time watching, because it's like again, this is like 7 movies in one, so it's like
Sure,
you get more than one favorite moment. And I guess like the music too. I just don't remember how it goes. Like that's the problem I have with the talking about music. But
sure.
it's literally just the ending where they're bowing to the hobbits. Like that music is great.
Oh,
Like I mean,
yes.
and I've talked about this off air with you.
Yep,
We're gonna
yep,
bring it up here with
yep,
you now. Like
yep.
honestly, I think that's where they should have ended the movie. Like as far as a film
Oh.
goes, like if they ended
Mhm.
that movie in that moment, Aragon does his speech. You get to see everyone together. Faramir and Arwen are having some kids together in the
They
crowd.
nod. They nod to the
Yeah,
readers like,
yeah.
"Hello."
But like in like Frodo's like his stare of like just like confusion is so funny to me in that shot too. He's just like
Mhm. They all got a funny look on their face. They're
yeah.
like, "Ooh, okay." They
Like,
were not expecting that.
and
But it
it's
is such
just
a
but
nice
like
spot.
Elijah Wood's acting in that shot is actually really good. Like he just has this like sense of just overwhelming emotion but not really showing it, and it's like subtle. Like it's like the more you
Mhm.
watch it. But like I just love that music, like in just the way they bow and it just fades. I'm just like I would be content with that ending. I didn't need all the other things. Now it's fine. Everything else is good. Everything else is fine. I get
But
it.
if Peter Jackson and his writing team had written this movie like there was no book, there was nothing attached to it, I agree with you. Cinematically, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe a little tiny epilogue with the map,
Little
and
timing
then
of
just
yep.
like, but that really should be like true ending of the
Yeah.
film.
Well,
Like,
then they could have like taken that whole extra stuff and maybe put Grond in, or like more stuff with Eowyn and Faramir, or like they could have like front loaded it with other things. Like I feel like the end, like this even when I first saw the movie, I felt this way. So this is not like a new thing for me. Like I just felt
yeah.
that like extra 30 minutes. Though as a reader, I like seeing it. It just felt like it. I mean, the shot where Frodo is like in the bed in slow motion, saying everyone's name except Legolas's, like it
Oh,
just.
that's my other favorite comedic moment. I wanted to bring it up. Yes, I love that part.
But like it
Everyone,
is like it goes on a very long time.
Gimli,
It's so long, and it's like
you. It is. And when they cut to like Legolas walking in the room and they cut back to Frodo, he's like,
yep, yep. I can't. I
okay,
ever since I've seen
yay.
that, I've never. I can't
You
unsee it.
can't.
You
You
can't.
can't. It's clearly what's happening because he does not name he names everybody else. Well, not everybody else, but he recognizes everybody else. And when he says Gimli is like I don't know why that always makes me laugh.
Gimli's expression to that,
Gimli.
he was so happy. Like
Oh. It's like
that is a good one.
R2D2.
That is a good one. But like, yeah, like it just seems like a lot like that
Mm.
happens, and just I think they just draw them out a lot too. Like where they could have just done like a montage or something maybe that could have like encompassed all that instead of
There is
having
a lot of
multiple.
slow motion.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
multiple scenes too. Like you got like them being bowed to, then you got like well, I guess like the waking up thing is before the bowing, right? But so but it
Yes. Yeah.
but yeah, like even that's like kind of like very long, but like I don't know, I just like the
Gotta wait for the
ending.
eagles to come and pick him up.
Yeah,
You
like
get
the
to see Frodo hanging from eagle
oh, that's the
talons.
thing
Yep.
too with the eagle thing. It's like they fade to black and then they just fade back to the same spot. That I thought was kind of odd. Like it's you know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. I remember I was like, oh, it is a weird moment because it's not like a different angle at all. It's just like the scene fades out on them and then fades right back in, and you're like, when you're
Oh,
watching for maybe 10 seconds before you see the eagles like silhouettes
yeah,
coming, like you see
yeah.
the, and
Anyways,
for a bit you're like, okay, what are we watching now? Like
I
what's
we should probably
happening?
shouldn't end this with like a negative like connotation, but I've
These all come from love. We've seen these movies so many times. No one would question our love of these books and
sure,
films.
sure.
But it's a film. There's funny things. People are funny and funny looking,
Mhm.
like it's fine. I would like to say though that after we get when we start the endings all over after the bowing to them, then it takes this like dark turn with Frodo going like, how do you pick up the pieces of a lost life?
Sure, that's true.
And it's just like, huh, like you got me, I was up here.
Yeah,
Now you're bringing me back
that's
down
why I'm like
here.
that's why that bowing thing
But
could
it,
yeah, I
you
know.
don't, aside from him waking up and seeing the Fellowship again, you don't see Frodo smile until he gets on the ship and turns back to his friends.
Sure.
That's the first time, and I guess that's like the moment you have to like remember, I guess, if you're ending this, if you're, complaining about, or not complaining, critiquing, ending the film. If it is really like about Frodo's journey, it is about him and what happens to him in the end. The others will do just fine. Like
Yeah.
Sam and Mary and Pippin will do just fine.
But like then you're like at a
And
shot of the boats going into the horizon for like 10, like I feel it feels like 30 minutes. I mean, I'm over exaggerating. And then there's more even after that. So it's like
yep,
you know,
Sam, my dear Sam,
but like
you will live a long life.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
No,
More monologue
I'm
or
being
voiceover.
I'm being overly critical of it. It
Right.
always, you know, it's just, I guess it's the presentation at the end that always like, and that's why I say, like, I was like, so when I rewatched it, like the bowing scene, just like, man, I turned it, I turned it off at that point. Oddly, I had to because of the situation I was in, but
Mhm.
like, I didn't really want to go back and watch the rest. like,
Uh,
I was like, I'll do it for the show, but
thank you. I will say that there is a great comedic spot though when they're back in the bar and they have their drinks for the first
oh,
time and
sure.
they toast each other, and Sam sees Rosie Cotton and just like gets up without a word,
Hmm.
and you don't ever see what happens. You just see Pippin's face go, just kind of like his eyebrows raised, and
Yep.
they just bust out laughing.
Yep.
It's like, heck yeah. And then the next moment, they're married.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's why I'm surprised we don't see their kids have adventures too. The sequel, Sam's Kids.
well, you
Let's
should
go.
see Sam give the red book to somebody else. That would be
Yeah.
give it to his son,
We'll just
who
keep
I
doing
believe
that.
is named Frodo.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yep. I forget. I think the daughter is named after somebody else too.
mm.
And then like Merry and Pippin's kids, I think they have kids and they named them after like AON and I don't know.
Now this
Maybe.
podcast is going to have 5 endings. It's fitting.
All right. And with that, Justin, we can finally close the red book on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We've come a long way. It was fun going down this little trip down memory lane. It's been a while
Sure.
since I've been able to watch all three like kind of close together like this.
Hmm.
I think I'm liking this format here. So I wonder what we'll choose next for a movie to explore.
We'll have to.
Perhaps another trilogy of some kind or a
Possibly.
one-off, a
Maybe some.
duology, if you will.
Could be something in a far, far galaxy. Who knows?
Oh, one of those. Oh. I thought we were gonna end on a happy note. Uh, well, who knows what that will be? Maybe we'll have some fun along the way with that too. We will. Whatever we do, we'll have fun with it. So, until next time, please, if you're interested in donating some money to children's hospitals through the Children's Miracle Network and Extra Life, come check us out in a couple weeks. Check all our socials, as Justin said. Look for that link. Come and watch us make buffoons of ourselves as we play games for 24 hours and hopefully raise some good money.
All right. Sounds good to me. I can't wait. Sorry, I thought you were going to keep going.
That was a long pause, but yes. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Bye.